Walk with me through the cellar door.
A storm is coming, Francis.
A portal to a more skeptical world.
Cellar Door Skeptics begins right now. Prepare for the revolution with your hosts, Christopher Tanner and Chris Hanna.
They just do it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I can hear me in your headphones.
You can hear me in your headphones? What?
I can hear myself.
Oh, I've got my hearing aid broke, and so if you can see on the microphone or on the screen, this is this little fucking plastic thing. This is what my good hearing aids look like. That's a molded earbud. The wire that they connect to it's just a wire, and the wire broke off the special molded ear set, and so like it doesn't seal in my ear very good, and so it's just fucking louder.
Are they gonna fix it for you?
Yeah, they're fixing it. It's under warranty. It's $135 if it wasn't under warranty, but it's one of the side effects of this design of hearing aid, and I knew it would be a problem, and I told the guy, I was like, this is kind of stupid, and he's like, this is the way the hearing aids are designed, and they're all like that now, so.
That's just awful.
Yeah.
What do we call it? Hearing aidists? They're anti-hearing aid people. They're like, oh, we don't care.
Well, they do if you're old. They don't give a shit if you're my age. Like you get Medicare.
Like, what sin did you commit to get your ear lost? Yeah. You sinful bastard.
Yeah, it could be. Because they freaking they have no problem spending $7,000, $10,000 on hearing aids for veterans or for old people, because that's what the insurance companies charge. Like the veterans hospital gets charged $10,000 for hearing aids from the insurance companies. Mine were $2,800. And they're just as good as anything.
Just like a scam or a racket. They're
kind of like when you take a car with a deductible and you got a broken windshield. If you go to the windshield place and you say, I got a busted windshield, and they'll say, well, do you have insurance? And it's like, yeah. It's like, well, what's the deductible? $100. Okay. Well, we'll charge the insurance company $300, and we'll pay your $100 deductible. So they charge $300. Their total because the insurance company pays for the deductible $100, so they get $200 for the windshield. But if you go in and say, I don't have insurance, they'll charge you $150 for the windshield, and so they'll take $50 less because
the windshield right on hand.
Yes,
so
and with
like
an insurance company. So the insurance companies, they just get billed higher by people. It's just, like you're billing the government, throw an extra $1,000 on there because they won't question it or whatever the reason is. And so the insurance companies for hearing aids, they get billed $10,000. They get billed $7,500 when an actual normal cost for resale is like my hearing aids from Costco at $2,800. So it's just a markup for the insurance companies. And the insurance company get pissed off, and so they charge more to the people. It's just this huge fucking overinflated, unregulated pile of capitalistic garbage.
So it depends, though, because a libertarian would tell you it's because the government doesn't have any checks and balances that allows for them to bill the $10,000. Where in a libertarian society, we would have other companies double checking, saying, "Yeah, you can't bill me $10,000 because it cost you $2,800. No one's going to let you make 80% profit on this."
But that requires there to be all different kinds of insurance companies competing against each other, which. In capitalism, the market naturally coalesces from a widely dispersed, evenly distributed group to a plutocracy. Like it's just a natural.
How would you propose we get there to evenly distributed insurance groups, Mr. Hanna?
From the market we have now, or
well, if we were to move, I mean, if you went to a libertarian market, it would be even more aggressive than we have now. So if you went what's the opposite of that?
If you're starting from a plain market, like just from the ground up, obviously you would have to have all kinds of different things in check to keep groups from having too much power in the market. And it would be
that socialist?
Yeah, the socialist thing would be.
That's just leading you down a path. Come on.
Well, the
I was just trying to
socialists.
get you to say socialist. That's all I wanted you to say as well. Libertarianism is garbage. And if you want
The libertarian idea, utopianly, is awesome, but nothing is ever that utopian. There's no such thing as a perfect free market. It'll never exist. It goes right from the perfect market for 15 minutes into what we have now.
I would
always
disagree. I would say there's not even a 15-minute perfect market. I would say it's always going to
Biased.
screw somebody over in some way, shape, or form, aggressively, not even like on a minimal level.
Yeah, it basically.
But I'm a socialist, so
yeah. So like the obvious solution is to not have insurance companies making profit off the health of the people.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. So there's no profit to be made off of that.
Yes, there's no reason to make profit off of people's supposed health or unhealth, and it's like a gambling thing. It's like the United States says, "Hey, you know what? We can make more money by gambling, and when we rig the gambling, it works better. So therefore, let's allow insurance companies to do these things. They'll make more money, have to pay more taxes, have more influence. Oh, yep. Hey, we're gonna win. It's a win-win, except for the people who are like, you're taking our money, you're gambling it." And that's how a libertarian feels. They're like, why am I giving the money to the government for them to gamble it away? And I would
they
be
want
like,
everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. But instead of that, why don't we destroy the government that we have and the capitalistic environment that we have and move to a socialistic environment? You wouldn't have this type of a competition where everybody would argue to the point where, we have people buying other people off.
Well, the socialistic thing has to have the government and has to have basically the government owning the means of production. That's the whole point of the socialist thing. Like the market has to be completely regulated as far as all of the means of the basic necessities of life. So all of your productive means for food, health, welfare. So I would put the insurance companies in there. So what you do is you immediately remove all insurance companies. And the only thing is it's a direct, what's the price for my MRI? What's the price for my root canal? And that price is negotiated between every single healthcare provider in the country as a hospital or doctor. And that price is set at, let's say, the beginning of the fiscal year, or maybe once every 2 quarters. So twice a year, the prices are adjusted. And that's the same price everywhere. And hospitals are basically competing for who does the best job at that price. And so you have a little bit of competitive nature there because whoever does the better job. But the middleman, the guy in the middle who's making money off of you going to the doctor, is no longer there. So you're removing all of that bull crap in the middle.
So how about this? Do you feel that it would level the market out for where people live, per se, right? So think about it this way. If you live in California, to make what you and I probably make, you would have to make like $150,000 a year, right? And we're not rich people. You have to make more because of a larger inflational ability because of the area, because everything costs more, and it costs
Wages.
more because we pay more, and we pay more because it costs more to live there. It's like a vicious circle, right? So if you take
wages are higher in those areas too, though. On just about everything.
Exactly. But it's a counterbalance. There's a reason for that, right? So think about it this way. If in your scenario, and I'm just throwing this out there, in your scenario, if you did this and you did what you were talking about, and you said basically if a root canal costs $475 in Michigan, it should cost $475 in California, do you think that it would correct people's wealth out there, also correcting inflation and the amount of money you pay for something out there? Would it correct that? Or would they go on to be greedy capitalistic fucks that make a lot more money? Would Silicon Valley essentially disappear where you can go make 500 to $1 million a year? And would it just disappear and go into, well, you're going to make what everybody else makes? You're going to make $150,000 to $120,000 a year because you have a specialized industry. But all your costs go down, so it doesn't cost more to live there anymore. So if your theory is correct, would that do that? Or would we just see a misappropriation where I would be flying out to California, you go out to California, and those people are getting deals because they're going to have extra income that you and I aren't going to have. Because if you make $150,000 a year and we make $40,000 a year, and it costs me $475 to get a root canal compared to them paying $475, we're reducing their cost without correcting their income levels and their other spend levels.
Well, basically what I would say on that is that the healthcare market is going to be equalized to a certain degree, but we can't expect the healthcare stopping some of the inflation and overpricing of the healthcare market to completely curb all of the different income inequalities and, let's say, places in the world or in the country where there's a coalescence of high pay and high technology jobs or whatever. What this would do is essentially take one piece of the one piece of the wheel of cheese, one slice that would just simply be lower for everyone, and so everyone's going to see a benefit. But you would need to do other things if you want to try to deal with the income inequality. Then you're looking at doing things like basic income. So everybody gets a certain basic income that's going to help negate the total cost, because everybody starts with the same amount of cheese. And then basically, depending on where you go, there are some ways that you could, you go to California because you have the skills, the resources, and you can get paid more or whatever. But just basically expecting the healthcare cost reduction and removing all of the excess fat from that to help with that income inequality stuff. It's not going to be a direct relationship. It'll make it easier for everyone. Yes, the guys who get paid a ton of money would benefit more than the guy in Tennessee who's working at a small factory. But you got to remember, unless you do a full social state where everybody just simply gets a certain amount of money, every single job is worth the exact same amount of money, and the way that they sort us is through measuring our skills, and then you're very good at this skill. This is the job pool you can pick from. Which job do you want to do? Like having that complete of a socialist state versus like a democratic social state where there is some income inequality, but the government does the best it can to keep people from price gouging as much as they can. Like you said, the capitalist greed wouldn't show up as much because the middleman had been removed from life's necessities. So your food, your housing, your health, those things would be, social programs that would be, that would be the means of production that's kept. So those basic necessities, those things would be removed from the difficulty of life. And then if you do get tons of money, that's where the capitalistic, ends of the democratic socialism can come in. You could get a ton of money if you move out to California and become part of that rat race. But just the healthcare thing alone isn't going to fix that, which is pretty much where I would say is that let's give everybody a little bit and work our way through as opposed to trying to fix the whole thing all at once.
Fair enough. We should probably actually start the show, though, since none of that was actually part of our pre-plan.
No, it isn't. But we haven't been hanging out as much. So like good conversations are tough to get, but that, and I've got a pet troll. I don't know. Have you seen Mun? Have you seen my paleo?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I tried to interact with him and I gave up.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know. I've been basically keeping him around. I don't block people unless you directly attack my friends and I. But if you're just a goofball spreading 4chan and Alex Jones links all the time, I find him entertaining. And so I just kind of see what he's posting. He says that all the Democrats are pedophiles, and at least Trump is doing that. He told me a few minutes ago before we did this show that we haven't heard from Hillary Clinton on Twitter because she and John Podesta are probably at Guantanamo. He didn't even spell Guantanamo right, so it's entertaining.
Why would they be at Guantanamo?
Because they're pedophiles. Because they're
pedophiles. Jeez.
Yes,
that's where we send pedophiles is Guantanamo.
And that's one of the things that Donald Trump has been doing is putting thousands of pedophiles in Guantanamo. Like it's entertaining. The guy is a complete goofball. But like I need to see some of that crap to be able to like just keep. I imagine if you've got your cutlery set in the kitchen and you cut a lot and your knife gets a little bit dull. You got to sharpen it from time to time. I keep him around to keep my not debating tongue, but my my wit sharp whenever I see something.
So he's like
so
John
absurd.
Mosman.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff where Mosman and Jeremiah and Joe. Well, not so much Jeremiah, but Joe and John Mosman were battling the other day. Our friend Joe Elder with the Paleo Radio and everything. They were just posting on Joe's Facebook page. So anybody who's interested, Joe Elder, the Paleo Radio, friend of ours in the area, Grand Rapids. I don't know. They were just battling something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
okay. So
I don't know. I just
because
I don't debate
that was
anymore.
funny because my wife mentioned Mosman, and like I was like, I haven't seen him. I think he's defriended me.
He shows up from time to time. He just shows up from time to time. He just gets all energetic, and then he'll be like, "I don't like Facebook and social media. I quit." And he'll disappear for a while, and then he shows back up again.
He did defriend me.
He did.
Yeah.
He didn't. I don't think he did me because I can still see his posts. So I haven't had a lot of good interactions with him, but who cares?
Ooh, they have mine. But this is what I miss because he had some good posts. Like here, he has a post about this Lego picture that's Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I would pay $100 for that just to own it. That would be me. I would do that.
Like Lego Batman, but Lego Monty Python.
Yes, it's Lego Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's got the French guy that goes, I'm your French guy, and the guy's like, tell us where the Holy Grail is, and he's like, oh, I wipe my bottoms at you. That's my favorite fucking movie. Just my favorite movie of all time. And like I miss those posts. Like I hate his like super ranty conservative gibberish posts, and I hate some. Didn't we do an interview with him lately? I guess maybe now I'm getting drunk and I don't remember.
No, the last time we interacted with him was your debate, and then we re-aired the debate, and he just kind of showed up and was tinkering around.
And he wanted to be back on the thing again.
So and he does stuff he did stuff on Twitter from time to time here and there.
He still does. That's why I was wondering because he actually tagged me in something the other day, or like I tweeted something because I've been trying to be more active on Twitter, and he mentioned something back. He says, "Sorry, but your distinction in this photo had the whole thing wrong." And so I went and looked at it. I was like, if you're in the Trump camp and a Christian, tell me how you can support his latest dictate.
Which was
about not giving trans individuals their lifestyle because it goes against Jesus. Which is another topic we could have done for the show that we probably harped on 100 million times, but that's a big point for me. But he has a whole new Twitter account called MFANINCO. I've never seen before.
He changed his name for personalities and stuff. Like oh, I got a new show. I got my new. It's like he had the J.F. Mosman like show thing that he did. I don't know. It just he I wouldn't say it's like impulsive, but he like gets all of his energy up into one thing, and then after doing it, it gets kind of difficult. He would just change his mind and just go do something else. Kind of like old Johnny Boy that we used to deal with all the time. He skeeter off into some weird tangent and stop paying attention to whatever he was working on before.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Johnny? I haven't seen Johnny in forever either.
Last I saw, he had completely up and abandoned his wife and kids.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's like, I'm not even interested in a guy who'll do something like that. So whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened to him. Because I thought he like refriended me.
He did as a fake profile under a different name.
But he never shows up in my feed.
I mentioned it to you. I was like, that's John, and that's a fake name. Anyways, interested is we used to do a website called Atheist Analysis with this guy, and he was.
What did you just do there? Did you just like talk like we were doing a live show or something?
Yeah, we are, aren't we? Are you not recording this?
I don't know. Why would I be recording this?
I figured you were.
All right. Secret lie. I've been recording for 18 minutes. You just started, so I started recording because I thought we were going to do the show. Sorry. I didn't tell you. How the hell did you know I was doing it? Fuck you. God damn it. I need to get more. Huh?
Your questioning changes when you're...
Seriously?
Yep. The way that you ask questions is clearer. It's clearer, more concise. When you you do this to people all the time. Like when we do interviews, you start off, and then they would be like, "Oh, we're doing the show now." You change the way you talk when you start the show. So I knew exactly when you were doing it.
God damn it! I did that earlier to that guy.
Yeah, I know. You think you're being so slick, but it's a tell if you know. Like if
Okay,
you're a
but in
person
fairness,
that doesn't
okay,
know,
all right.
that
So,
guy didn't know you were going to do it, so you probably caught him. But like me, I've seen you do it so many times.
but
that
I
know.
okay, but in fairness, I did not think I changed my questioning style of you.
Yeah, you did. You know why? Because you started talking with using specific words like socialism and libertarian, and as soon as you started doing that very specific call out and saying like, "Okay, Mr. Hanna, well, what would this whole scenario be like?" Why would you ask me a formal question if this isn't a recorded segment now?
Oh, this is awful. All right, I got to figure out how to be sneakier. Maybe it's because I've been drinking. I bought this small batch bourbon. It's not small batch really, but I bought Bullet Rye. My Bullet Rye, and then I was at the store debating costs, right? And Penny Pincher me is sitting there, right? And I was like, fifth
Holding 2 bottles
or 1 liter. Fifth, 1 liter, half gallon. And I'm sitting there on my phone going, all right, let me calculate out the cost per ounce. Okay, this much per ounce.
It usually has it on the label. Like it'll say like price per ounce on the label, or like on the tags below.
Fuck.
On the shelves.
I never do that. I'm the guy that sits there. It does.
You got your calculator out in the liquor aisle.
I do. Yeah, I pull my phone out, pull my calendar. I do it for the pop too. Literally, I'll walk and see what's on sale. And I only like Diet Pepsi because I only like to mix it, and I really only like to drink Diet Pepsi. And so I'll literally go, all right, cans, 12 or 24, 16.9 ounce bottles, or 2 liters. And I'll literally sit there with all my numbers. I'll be like, and I'll be like, all right, it's 0.002, 0.0018. Oop, that's cheaper. I'm going to get it, even though it's only like 0.02 cents cheaper. But I do that. Okay. Like
if you're at Meijer, it has the price per ounce or price per gram or price per pound or whatever that you pick. Some places, like let's say like a liquor store, might not have that. They'll just have a number, and you get to do the math and feel all proud about yourself. But most major chains will have the price per ounce.
You just ruined my whole life. Like, I actually thought I was this intelligent being doing all these amazing things, right?
All I do the same thing at gas stations. I do the same thing at gas stations, though. I check to make sure the meter's reading properly, especially if it says like when because it's kind of like checking to see if the card reader in an ATM is real. They have skimmers. I don't know if you've ever seen that at all.
Mm-mm.
The thing where you put your card into
like
an ATM.
Bitcoin. It's somebody there I'm skimming a penny of gas off you.
No, like they have these little plastic insets that'll go right over where your card goes in on an ATM machine or at the gas station. Wiggle that, and if it pops off, because people will put something that looks exactly like it on there. It's battery powered and wirelessly controlled, and they'll sit over somewhere. And every time your card goes through it, it scans the magnetic reading on your card, and then they can take that and go buy stuff and steal your identity and everything. It's rare. It doesn't happen a lot, but when you use those types of things, ATMs, especially in shady areas, wiggle the damn thing that your card goes into, and sometimes it'll come off. If it does, then someone's skimming all the cards that are going into that thing. But anyways, the same thing I do with gas stations. It says on the side when they were last examined or checked to make sure that they're reading properly. I still calculate on the total amount, even though it's digital and it could be changed or whatever, to make sure the price per gallon divided by the number of gallons I get or the total divided by the number of gallons I get is the price per gallon listed, because I was told at some point that some gas stations were cheating. So I haven't done it much lately, but for a while, every time I pump gas, I would do the math to make sure I didn't get overcharged. So
that's crazy. I never thought about that.
There's weird stuff out there. I don't know, math and conspiracy stuff usually doesn't catch me too much, but if you're going to start skimming my credit card and taking my money, I'll usually spend an extra couple seconds just to check, because I haven't had my identity stolen yet. I do imagine that it's incredibly annoying to have to read you all your cards and get the bank to give you your money back and whatever else that entails.
Oh, it's not. My sister's actually had it like twice. It's like sad that that's happened to her, but twice. And she's single. She's a teacher. It's not like she's like this like super wealthy person, but she's had her identity stolen twice.
That sucks.
It does. So I feel so bad for her sometimes. Like,
you got to keep your crap off the internet.
Ugh, I wish I could do that.
I don't know.
I do own VPNs and all sorts of other things now.
That's something I want to do, is get a VPN. You need a special router that's unlocked and all kinds of other crap. But I don't know. For me, the big thing with that, like, is in the end it's using like, well, because I mean, you can only trust big sites and big places that have your data so much. But on top of that, one of the 3 credit retailer or checking companies got hacked like crazy. And so, I mean, they just have all your data, even if you don't use them, because they're allowed to check for credit scores. And in the end, there really is nothing you can do. Even the biggest, supposedly most secure things get hacked. So, I don't know, cache it if you're really paranoid about it, or just you got to keep track of everything that you do to make sure if someone steals $100 that you notice that.
Yeah, and that's true. And I guess I do go through my finances enough to know, I guess I wouldn't know. I did notice it when I got screwed over. I went to where the fuck did I go to get cologne? I always go there. Banana Republic. Always buy my
cologne
the spray shit. You spray yourself with it. That makes you smell good. Hannah, do you wear cologne? You don't wear deodorant, so you probably don't wear cologne either.
I do.
Okay.
Time to time. Usually I don't wear too much stuff when I'm just going to work, but like I can't remember. I think I've got Kenneth Cole.
Yeah. So I've always just like I don't know what it is about Banana Republic, but I've always bought my cologne there. I don't know why. I'll be honest. It was okay. I kind of know why, because I think it was something. I had a friend that was like kind of a snobby person. He was really skinny. He could always wear these fancy clothes at like Express and Banana Republic, and he's like, hey, you should start dressing nicer and doing this and buying these fancy clothes. And I tried to start doing it, but I was always like too fatly and broad-shoulderly awkward to ever fit into any of this shit that it looked good.
Fatly.
People would be like,
fatly.
I'm fatly.
Fatly. Is that the scientific term?
Yes. Yes, it's a new scientific term. And it was always just like, I just never like fit right in half the clothes. So I could compromise by buying cologne there. And so I always bought the cologne there. And then, so last time I went to that new strip mall south of town on the 84th, Tangeray or whatever the hell it's called.
Tanger outlets. It's the outlet place or whatever. Yeah. I don't do the outlet things.
Yeah, I do though. I'm obsessed with those things. But these ones suck. They're not good pricing. But I just went there because I wanted to buy the cologne I'd always bought. I get there and they're like, yeah, Banana Republic doesn't make that anymore. I'm like, what the fuck? This is like twice they've done this to me. Like I should stop shopping there because they've like discontinued my cologne twice in like 15 years. And like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, cause usually I go there and I'll buy like $175 worth of shit. I'll just buy like all these bottles. So I have them forever. So like, I don't have to worry about changing my smell because it's a weird thing for me. Like it's an idiism, or, like I don't want to say I'm autistic and I think this, but like I'm obsessive compulsive about what I smell like. And so like,
you told me that you have like a lot of, I guess I wouldn't call them like obsessive compulsive, but I would say that you have very specific things that you like the different kinds of clothes that you like to wear. That's how your socks need to be, your undershirts, and now apparently your scents and stuff. Like you're very peculiar about that stuff. That's some people are more specific. Like I just imagine you'd be like, I need Stetson cologne or whatever it is that you do.
It's speed. It's the speed stick stuff. Like I have to have the unscented now. I used to have scented, but then it conflicted with my cologne, so I got rid of the scented and I went to unscented.
You can't handle having two different sources of scent.
No, it was giving me headaches. So I went to unscented cologne. I wear unscented cologne, but if I smell myself, then I got a problem. So like if it doesn't work, I know I got a problem. So if I smell like nothing, deodorant. I'm good. That's what I consider it.
It's unscented deodorant, and then you wear scented cologne.
Yes.
Right?
What did I say?
You said unscented cologne. I was like,
well, I meant no. All right. So I wear unscented deodorant and I wear cologne, right? And I wear it no matter. It doesn't matter whether I'm staying at home or whether I go out. I wear cologne every day. Okay. I don't think I've ever once not worn cologne. Actually, now that I think about it, like one time when I had to travel, I couldn't find like a to-go thing, and I couldn't take. They took my cologne at the airport. And I got like really angry. I was like, damn it, I'm not going to smell good. And they're like, we're sorry, you can't take this on the plane. I'm like, I'm not going to kill anybody with it. And they're like, are you threatening to kill people? I'm like, no. I'm not doing any of that. I just would like, that cologne costs $50. And they're like, yeah, that's not really that much money. And like, well, to me it is.
Hey, this is Keith.
And this is Jen, and we're from Not Another Atheist Podcast.
You're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics.
Join the revolution.
If you'd like to join the ranks of Patreons and sponsor the show, head over to patreon.com/Cellar Door Skeptics. For less than a 20-ounce soda or an energy drink each week, you can help sponsor us, the hosts, and our charity of choice. Patreon helps Cellar Door Skeptics create better content, become better activists, and it's going to help you stay healthier by drinking one less soda or one less energy drink each week. Click the link in the notes of the show to sponsor us today because we bring the discussion with the sources.
Hey, my name is Wesley. I'm from the Atheist Nomads podcast. Kick back a while and listen to my friends on the Cellar Door Skeptics.
Now, back to the show.
But, anyway, so, back to the Banana Republic thing, a side tangent, from hell. I went to that Tangerine outfit, and I had to pick a new cologne. So it took me about a half hour. And I'm, literally, spraying all the scents in the air and, diving into them. And if you could see me, right now, it'd be like...
Is that how you put it on?
Yeah.
You spray it in the air and then walk into it?
No, only when I'm trying it on. When I'm at home, I just spray directly on myself. I'm like, fuck it. If I want to smell like, a beautiful ashtray, I guess. I don't fucking know. And so but I was spraying it all over. And then after a while, the scents get confused. And then I just got angry and I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to buy this one. This one's the least neutral. Fuck everybody. I'm getting that. And I took it up to the register and, I buy it. And then they're like, oh, well, we have a discount. Buy one, get one half off. I'm like, all right. So I go back and get a second one, get up there. They can't get it to ring up correctly. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Just give me the one then. I don't care about I just want the one. Just so I have cologne. That's all I care. And they're checking me out.
Too hard.
Yes, exactly. And I'm getting frustrated and they could tell I'm getting frustrated. And I probably shouldn't be frustrated, but I am. And so they're checking me out and they scan it. They go, oh, your credit card didn't take. You have a different credit card. I'm like, seriously? I was like, it's my bank card. My whole savings account is tied into this. It's all one account. I don't have overdraft fees. I have none of that stuff. They're like,
everything is all one.
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I just literally got paid this morning. And they're like, all right. And I'm like, it's $45. It's $45. This has to go through. I just put gas in my car 30 minutes ago. So they rang me up 3 times, literally 3 times. And finally it goes through. So I was like, okay, no problem. About a month and a half later, I looked through my statement. I'm like,
they rung you up each time.
Yeah, I got billed 3 times for that. It's what the fuck? So, then I was like, I'm going to call them. And then I just kind of put it off. And I kept getting angrier inside. And then I just was being lazy. And I never called them. And I just was lazy.
So you paid $90 for a $30 call?
No. 45 times 3.
Oh,
so it was $135.
Yeah, $135 for a $45 call.
So then I see another charge for a credit for $90 or $80 or something like that. So I'm like, God damn it! But I didn't think it was a credit. I thought it was another. I misspoke.
Oh.
I thought it was another charge for $80. So now I'm livid. Now I think they're screwing me. So I go into my bank and I sit down with the lady and I have all my printouts. And she goes, "You see, this has a little negative sign on it, right?" I was like, No. And she's like, they credited you back. Yeah, they overcharged you, but they credited you back.
That's good.
Oh. And she's like, are we all set here? And I'm like, yeah,
I
guess so. I got my money back, so
you felt you felt like as Jim Norton likes to say, you felt like a silly goose at that point. Is that what it was?
Yes, exactly. I was like, God damn it. I felt so stupid. I'm like, damn it, I was so angry about this, and then I didn't do anything about it because I was being lazy. And then I was so angry that when I saw another charge, they were billing me again. And so I got lividly pissed. I went in there, and it was just a credit. It was an actual credit, and I literally could not believe I was that stupid. I guess
I've never had that really crazy, horrible experience. I've had my parents have had your bank account. Someone tried to get into it from India last night, and they're like, no. And then they reset the passwords. They sent out new cards. It has been attempted to my family a couple times, and I've never even gotten anything from mine. But they called me when I was in Jamaica or Dominican Republic, and they were like, "Are you where you were supposed to be? Is this real?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm on vacation." And I called them and told them before I left. I've never had anybody try to steal. Now, no, watch. Not next thing you know, I'm gonna be like on the fucking streets living off because someone's gonna hack my account and take every penny I have or something. But like, just knock on wood, whatever. I've never had any problems like that before. Besides little things here and there that were easily fixed. Like I've never had like the running narrative where I was angry at some arbitrary store.
It's just, but that's me. That's like my
that.
whole life. Like if you want to sum my whole life up in like,
it's just a series of those things over and over again.
Like weird, stupid things. Half the time I'm incorrect. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I was misunderstanding. I shouldn't have done that. Okay.
You should dress up as Lemony Snicket for Halloween then. Your life is just a series of misfortune and events, I guess. I don't know. I will say you have dealt with some crap. I will give you that.
But yeah, I do. I get weird. Sometimes weird things will happen, and then I'll like go out of my way, and I don't know. I do. So I do think I sometimes overreact to things that I probably shouldn't overreact to. Yeah, I probably shouldn't sometimes. But, sometimes it's kind of fun, I guess. I don't know. It's like you learn, I'm getting older. So, like, there's certain things I'm learning,
not to go nuts about.
Yeah. Like, especially with, my work and stuff like that. Sometimes you just have to take a step back and, you think differently. You're like, oh, last year I never would have done that. Last year I would have just kind of been a dick about everything and just been like, and just bowled right over it,
That's been an area with work thing that's been like an area with me. Like lately, it's been really tough to just kind of hold back because it seems like my dad and I were talking about this earlier today. It's like we do the right thing. Like when I know I can overcharge someone, when I know I can really stick it to them, when I know they need something really bad, and I can just I can break the bank, make them leverage the farm, and I don't. Because it's the right thing to do. Here's my price. This is what it costs for me to do something. You want it quicker? Here's a small, expedited fee for me to do this quicker for you. And I've been working and working and working. And like we see, customers and we see people and stuff that just don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you see people they just totally don't care. And it's just I'm curious to like how much of the country the Democrat or Republican, liberal, progressive, conservative, libertarian, whatever. Like, how many of the people out there like really do the right thing? I'm doing the right thing. I'm helping out people, and it seems like everyone else is, screwing this. People are cheating and doing whatever they want. And I would bet that on average, the people in this country, most of them do the right thing. But like we remember, the few guys that are just like doing whatever they want. We remember them more. And so like it kind of sucks and it's hard to do the right thing. But like it's also tough when you have like someone who's you see like administrative and political decisions and things that are so obviously benefiting people who just wouldn't do the right thing if you gave them the chance. Here's the thing, your employees are doing a wonderful job for you. You just got a huge tax break from the government. How about you give all those people a bunch of money, increase their overall wages and whatever. Like in my company, if I had that opportunity, like there's no question that we would do that. We only have 3 employees, so it's it's kind of like a no-brainer if everything's going well. But like that wouldn't be something that my dad always talks about. He says if you ever won the lottery, everyone he knows would get money. Like he would. What are you gonna do with $50-100 million? Like he's like I just need a couple million to retire on and I'm good to go. And like everybody I know, all my friends, family, like that's the kind of small business world that we believe we live in. But it's so hard these days to like we see people just kind of like sticking it to everyone. Everyone's just a few people are just so brutal, and it's like why do the right thing then? It's kind of demoralizing. Like why do the right thing? Why help people out and be honest?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I don't know. How can you put that into words so other people can understand sometimes,
How can you survive? How can you survive being a good guy? It's so hard for me to keep my business open and running, doing the right thing and being the good guy and being honest. Like it sucks. It sucks to do the right thing. Like then more people should do it. I don't know. You always hear it's like, it's hard to do the right thing. Right. Well, when it comes to the business and stuff, like it seems like the dog eat dog guy that's willing to step on everybody on his way up to the top, like that's the guy that wins.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just a non-capitalist in me or something, but
I don't know. My boss is actually kind of the same thing, in fairness too. He's like, he said before, if he won the lottery, one of the big things that he would do is he would take and he would give all the employees he values money.
values you over there, that one
there's some
guy.
people he does. Yeah, my boss does not value. And then
you
he's
heavy
like
metal listener and pot smoker.
No, he likes my pothead metal friend, but
okay,
he likes him because he works. He works hard and he doesn't complain. And he's a taskmaster. But my boss, and he's like, the other thing I do if I won enough is he's like, I would buy into this company and then start paying people fair wages. He'd be like, I would buy in, X percent or whatever I could afford. And he's like, the owners wouldn't turn me down because it's a lot of money they could put in their pockets that in the long run, when they want to cash out in 5 to 6 years, maybe 10 at most, they can retire with a fat savings. And he's like, I'm not looking to retire. I'll be here for another 15 years. He's like, so the difference is if I could change that and then all of a sudden have the extra capital to just dump into people's pockets because I'm the one that paid into it. He's like, why would I not do that? And,
cool.
He's, again, it's one of those ideologies you go, well, are you telling me this because I'm the asshole libertarian or liberal socialist in the office, or are you telling me this because you truly think that, like, are you just trying to impress me? I don't know.
Yeah, you're the one that's, the bleeding heart, right? You're leaving blood puddles all over the carpeting again, Chris. Stop bleeding for everybody out there in society who is not doing well. Make them pull themselves up by their bootstraps, damn it.
I'm the guy that argues for raises for people, and it's like the people that are on the top end of the pay scale, even if it's not that much, like our top end for our hourlies is under $40,000 a year. And whether that's good or bad, it is what it is, right? But when I argue against paying the top end person, a 8% raise, because I don't think they're I don't think they're bringing that much value. I think they're just coasting. And I got the person on the bottom end, and I want to pay them a 15 to 20% raise. And you're like, well, why would we do that? That's just going to move them so far. And it's like, yeah, but they're doing all the work. The other person's just sitting in an office. She's coasting.
It's I don't know, the difference between the laborer and the white collar is a tough place to find equilibrium when it comes to any kind of increases. So like, how much does hard work and backbreaking pay and body wear down compare as far as the administrative costs? So that is a philosophical argument that could go multiple places in multiple areas, but like in the end, the idea that we're trying to increase everybody's quality of life or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be like the one size fits all. Here is the answer. Like you can move these things around and try a bunch of different stuff. I just feel that like in some places we're so scared of making the wrong decision that we never actually make a decision. And some of us, I would bet you and I would both be more than likely to start dumping money into the lower end of things to build up the foundation and build the country up from the bottom up. And, there are people that would say like, well, there were people that would spend that money wrong and they would use it on vices or whatever. And, there's all those arguments on that. But like you and I would be much more likely to put the money towards, the bottom guy, and that he is going to benefit everyone up all the way up the chain and those kinds of things. Like, I think that's where, we would start as far as like,
the south side of things.
Yeah. just
we can play that POD song, the Welcome to South Town.
I don't know that.
I'm not drunk enough to rap, I don't think. But it's like Welcome to South Town. I wish I could play it right now.
I don't know POD too much besides I wish the Fly song.
The Fly song, what?
Yeah, the Fly song. Wasn't the I Believe I Can Fly?
That's not POD.
No,
I
can
fly.
No,
what are we talking about? This is a POD.
No. What is the POD song where he's singing?
You think of Fly?
Yeah, well, there's a POD song about flying so high, and I can't remember the name of it.
What?
I don't know. Yeah, well, R. Kelly is the one that I believe I can fly, but I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember
you know,
the
there were two different
the-
things,
Well,
like child molester.
well, there's POD's song, and it's damn it, I can't remember the name of the song. Oh well,
You better
Either-
Google. I
it's
want you to
bad.
Google it now. This is
I'm trying. So we'll have
Google
a we'll have a
Google this shit. Come on, Google it and then send me a
POD,
link, and
man.
I'll play the audio for you. Oh, I guess you could probably play it.
Alive. I think that's it. It is POD lyrics. Yeah. I feel so alive, and I think I can fly. Sunshine upon my.
Yep.
There you
go.
Yep. I
know
believe
that
I can
song.
fly. I think I can fly. Sorry, I got one word wrong, and it turned into peeing on people. I apologize.
Well, what do you expect? It's that liberal in you that just moves from being alive to peeing.
You know what? That could be something that that John Moseman is going to quote us on now, and we have to be careful that it doesn't just show up on InfoWars because I know
pee on people because
know.
they feel alive.
Yes, it makes them feel alive, and it's turning the frogs gay. Thanks, Alex Jones.
Gay. What?
Thanks. We got to quote Alex Jones here. I mean, if
he really said that.
Yeah, they were talking about they're talking about all the pharmaceuticals and estrogen and all the different chemicals that were in the water because of pharmaceutical runoff. That all that poison in the water was turning the frogs gay, and they weren't having, you know, they weren't procreating because they were gender confused. Like,
oh my god.
I know that's Alex Jones though. That's my pet troll. He was quoting Alex Jones not so long ago, and I was like, listen, dude, anybody who sells me like a testosterone or tries to sell me a testosterone supplement and thinks frogs turn gay because of the river water, I'm not really going to take him seriously. And he was seriously trying to tell me that all of the different chemicals in the water changes the frog's behavior to the point where we can, you know, they say that that's not a detriment. I was like, oh no, I will 100% agree that dumping pharmaceuticals into the water will do all kinds of things to the flora and fauna in the environment. But I will not say that pharmaceuticals can make amphibians become homosexual.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's like,
you know what I mean? That is basically like saying that the chemicals and pharmaceuticals that we take, if you take some weird cocktail of all of them, that's the solution as to why things become gay, because there's a chemical there, right? Like that means that we've solved the problem. It's absurd. There is no chemical solution. There is no genetic moment so far that we know of, and I don't believe there ever will be found, as to the solution to and way to correct any kind of homosexual tendencies in any kind of animal population in the entire world.
If we can't correct serial killers at this point, I highly doubt we're going to even. Why anybody would bother to attempt to try and correct gay people before we would correct serial killers is
there's causation. It's just we don't even know, you know, the reasons of what the brain itself is so incredibly complex. Like you're not going to be able to pick serial killers, but also like just identifying serial killers or whatever and why the brain works. We don't even know where, you know, the line is between having any kind of actual intelligence or an artificial intelligence or anything is. Like, what do you think? Alex Jones found the frogs. He found the ones that's the scientific site. Dude, publish that in freaking Nature. You know how much money you'll get out of that? We proved that the chemicals are turning the frogs gay. Publish it in Nature. Publish it in Science magazine. You will win the Nobel freaking prize, dude.
It's easier for him to sell his after drink that says, if you don't want to be gay, drink this drink here and you won't be gay anymore. And hey, remember folks, for $10.99 a month, you can get 17 drinks. And it gives you enough to share with your friends, because how many friends do you have that are gay and you don't want them to be gay? So give them a drink and you'll be on your way.
You need to seriously again. You need to get Alex Jones screaming in the background too when they're doing that, like like doing his total freakouts and calling Hillary Clinton the Antichrist and Obama the Antichrist, and I don't know however many liberals he's called the Antichrist.
I think the better one is
John
The
Oliver's
turtle.
entire segment.
Well, yeah, that too, but that was pretty good. But no, it's a turtle. Every time anybody makes fun of Mitch McConnell and it's just a turtle, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
guys. And you know, the worst is I do that at home sometimes. Like, we'll be sitting at the dinner table and like Mitch McConnell will come up and like somebody will say the turtle and I'll just won't be able to help myself. I'll be like, oh, guys,
You know
we're
what, dude?
gonna vote against health care for everyone.
Americans want $3.4 million to build a 13-foot-long turtle tunnel at a lake in Florida.
And I just can't help myself.
The hard part about this is hitting the southern drawl quite right.
I
He
can't do
is
that.
so perfectly southern when he speaks. He's even I would say he's even better at it than Orrin Hatch. Orrin Hatch is like the king. But whenever I hear it, did you watch Futurama at all?
Oh yes.
Okay, so the court case where Fry is being charged. I can't remember who's being charged with, but there's a giant chicken that is the prosecutor of the court case, and it sounds just like the lawyer from To Kill a Mockingbird, who is trying Jim Robinson, the African American man in the movie, and or in the book, but in the movie, he is the perfect Southern. It sounds like the Colonel Sanders is doing the cross examination, like, and now y'all. It's just so, like whenever I hear Mitch McConnell talk, all I can think of is that like it's not even a real accent that I hear. Like it's the caricature. It's so bad. I don't know. I just he has the best one, especially since Orrin Hatch is leaving. Whenever I hear him, all I can think of is the chicken from Futurama, who's a lawyer. That's all I can think of.
That's awful.
I know it's terrible. But, I mean, if we have any Southern viewers or anybody that wants to call in and completely
Mitch
rip me,
McConnell. Yeah, I can't even do
Yes,
it. Mitch
dude,
McConnell wants to
yeah.
distill government assistance
Congress
for
will act.
the world.
Make no mistake.
I'll just
When the
wiggle
newly
my
elected
jaws
representatives of
and
the people
we'll
take their
if
seats,
anybody from the
take our
South,
they will
seats.
act.
if anybody from the South thinks that we're being douchebags, I seriously would love for you to Skype in with us, and message us, and let us know. We will air your grievances on air. You can scream at us in your cute little. I would
Senator
enjoy
Mitch
getting yelled at by
McConnell
someone
released a
in a
very
Southern
bizarre-
accent right now, because that's as much as it is, dude. Seriously, like when I can't take Mitch McConnell seriously when he does it, because all I hear is the Futurama chicken. Yeah.
Rangers,
That
there's
and
step-by-step
there's a
and stuff
movie
like that.
called
He
Into
did
the Wind. I don't know if you've
but-
heard of this.
B-roll
Into the
of
Wind?
him just doing goofy
Yes.
things like
No.
is this something
Okay,
like
everybody and anybody who listens to us, all 6 of you, you need to see this movie. Damn it! Maybe no, that isn't it. I could have
Mitch
swore it
McConnell's
was.
in Into the Wind.
No, it's not Mitch McConnell. It's Into the Wind. It's a black and white movie. And essentially, what it is it's weirdly. Oh man, Inherit the Wind. There we go. Okay, Inherit the Wind. The basic idea of the movie is there's a guy who is a famous Southern he's a famous Southern lawyer, and the whole point is like they're arguing about God, and it turns into it's a court case, and it turns into this this battle between the Scopes monkey trial. So and if you know the Scopes monkey trial, where essentially they pretty much said that evolution, chimpanzees and everything, and the movie itself was from 1960, and I highly recommend it. So a school teacher is teaching evolution, and there's a guy who's hired to defend the school teacher, and he believes in evolution, and he is, he's a very good lawyer. He's kind of disgraced, and he's not popular. He's willing to take on cases that are outside the norm, And then there is this guy who is the prosecutor. He's a super famous prosecutor. He always wins. He's never lost, or whatever it is. He's incredibly famous. And he comes in, but he's an absolute devout evangelical. I mean, hardcore. And this essentially the evolution thing comes to a head, but it really is a battle between secularism and a theocracy. And the guy, the theocrat, or whatever, like a lot of the reasons and the things that the separation of church and state is a good thing is really, really hashed out in this movie. It's a stunning movie. I torrented it. It's easily available. It's all over the place. Inherit the Wind. Check it out. I have it saved on my computer at all times for just a random viewing from here to there, because it is worth every bit of it. It's awesome. It really is. It's really cool. So
yeah, randomness of the day.
Random, yeah.
Randomness of the day.
it brings in the Bible and Darwin and the origin of species and everything. It's just awesome. It's so cool. It's just one of those things that when you're digging through, like early on in the non-believer community, that I was just like, what is this thing? And I watched it and I was like, this is beautiful.
Yeah, I guess I've never seen. I'll have to look that up though. That does sound interesting. That sounds like something I could be like, "Hey kids, we're gonna watch an old movie," and they're gonna be like, "Sure, Dad. What is it?" And I'll be like, "Let me make sure you understand how much of an atheist I am. We're gonna watch this movie," and they're like, "Okay, Dad." And then halfway through, they're like, "Dad, this is boring. There's no color. Did you guys really watch these type of things when you were a kid? Did you guys not see things in color, Dad?" And be like, no, honey, no, that's not how it works.
They're gonna complain too. They're like, "Why does everybody sound like the chicken from Futurama?"
my older boys will say that. They will ask me that too. I'm sure they will ask me that. They'll be like, "Why does he?" And he says, "A God." Oh man.
I'm looking up the episode with the chicken lawyer Futurama. His name, he is the Hyper Chicken. It's a simple alien from a backwoods asteroid, the most frequent lawyer seen in Futurama. His father is he is a father and has often defended and prosecuted members of the Planet Express crew. One of the things that in the episode that I'm thinking of, he is a polygamist. It's just, oh man, I can't. It didn't say which episode. Apparently, he's a recurring character, so it won't just show up one. But he's the Hyper Chicken in Futurama. So anybody who wants to do their research and join in on the inside joke, dive in.
Yeah, it's Future Chicken Lawyer 2. I'm sorry. I thought you were corn.
No, it really is. It's one of those things. Like once you hear it, anytime you hear Mitch McConnell or Orrin Hatch talk, you're like, "There's no way," and it is. It close your eyes, and you can put the chicken man into the Colonel Sanders suit with the weird 2 strings for a tie. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what they call it, but yeah, it's some weird thing. I don't know what they call that though.
Oh, it's scary in that there witness box, but ain't no need to fear me. I'm sorry, I thought you was corn. Now, would you please point at that robot over there? No further questions?
Those things about just the morals and ethics of business and all that kind of stuff somehow turned into chickens and turkey lawyers and
POD Southtown videos.
Wow, yeah, that's where that thing took off. The POD, I think I can fly. That song actually.
You're right. Your thing was the Think I Could Fly. I was talking about the POD Southtown video because we talked about being Southtown or some gibberish like that.
I'm not even familiar with that song. I might recognize it.
I sent you the link at Facebook.
Hello, I'm Miss B. Haven.
I'm Demanda Wright.
And we're
promoting secular feminism. And you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics.
Considering how you want to help Cellar Door Skeptics, head over to iTunes or your favorite podcast app and give us a rating, because every rating helps push us in front of new listeners. And since our main goal here at Cellar Door Skeptics is to provide the most accurate information possible, we hope that more ratings will mean that more people get to hear the topics that we're presenting. We don't insist that we get a 5-star rating, but Hannah's favorite number is 5, and the more gold stars he gets, the more special he's gonna feel. So what do you say? Head on over to iTunes or Google Play, give us a rating, and help engage with Cellar Door Skeptics today.
Hey, my name is Jeremiah. And this is David from the God Theory Podcast. And you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics. Prepare for the revolution.
Now, back to the show.
It's like from the debut album that I was a street team for as a teenager.
Well, that's their one like big hit album, and then they had a couple of them afterwards.
This is the one before that. Yeah, okay, so Southtown was probably in that one with Alive. I don't know. No, I don't think so.
No. Alive was the one that was their big hit, that album, because that came out right after 9/11, and that was like there were a couple of songs like Drowning Pool's Bodies and Steve Miller's Airplane, Jet Airliner. Like those are two songs that were like actively censored during the 9/11, days and weeks afterwards. But a weird song that picked up and went big during the national sadness was that POD's Alive songs, like, and I feel so alive, and people really picked up on that. There's a couple other songs that really were popular in that area, but that's one of the big things I remember about the POD song was that was a big thing during that time period.
Yeah, you're right. So this album was called The Fundamental Elements of Southtown.
Yeah.
And this was the album that got me into them, and then I listened to their other albums before that. But it was the Warriors EP is the original one that I got for free somehow. But this was their national debut on like the Billboard charts. Like this was their actual first like album. I think it was let's see, let me look it up. It's Atlantic that came out, and this was like 99. And this is their first mainstream album. Then you're talking about, I'm going to guess, the second album, Satellite, which was the big hit. That was the one that really took off for them in terms of national recognition. Recognition? That's even a word.
It might be. It doesn't matter. It's a Tanner word. We'll just call it. But like that was the reason you liked that band, was it because they were considered still like a Christian band?
Well, that's how I got into them, was because of that, right? Okay. It was
a lot of people didn't know about that until later. It's kind of like the Evanescence thing, where people are like, oh, it's like a Christian band, and then Evanescence was like, no, not really.
These guys were 100%, like they were like, they helped rescue gang members and that type of thing, and so like they were popular in the Christian side of things because they were big in the Christian public bookstores, because it was, how do you draw the next generation in? And so some of my generation was like, I like harder music. I want something that's not just this gibberish of, like, I don't want to listen to a hymn on a CD. I don't like Rich Mullins. I don't like Michael W. Smith anymore. I don't care about any of that stuff. This is aggressive. This is how do I pump my blood for Jesus? I want to make society change because Jesus is the right thing to do. That type of thing. And that's what that was. Is it was just this big conglomerate of aggressive music for me. And I love metal.
I think I just coughed on a little bit of Jesus there. You got caught in my throat.
Oh, you just can't go so deep on Jesus. That's all, But that was what
that surprised me.
But that's what POD was to me as an individual, man. Like, it was just like
it
was the representation of aggressive music without violating that form of Christian essence that I had to grow up with. And
I will give them credit. I will give them credit. They didn't slap you over the face with it. They did it kind of covertly, and they coerced you into it as far as like this is the real meaning, and you're like, oh shit, really? So I got to give them credit on that. They did a good job doing a crossover band for that.
Yes. And that was just, that was a shitty, or I guess it's not the shitty thing. It's, on a positive note, that's just where that was a transition for me on how do I move, I don't know, my taste in music.
And you ended over in cattle decapitation. Yep. I think you won.
Cattle decapitation, Slayer. And
I'm pretty sure you won that. It's like the first hard rock or any kind of like anything with like a punk mentality or a rock mentality. The first album I had was Green Day's Dookie. I had that, and that was like the first time when I listened to anything that was just like angsty. It was cranky. It was pissed off. It wasn't like, oh yeah, like I had REM's Out of Time when I was younger, and I think someone had bought me like a Kenny G album. Like everything was just so like pacified. And like I had seen Green Day's Basket Case, and so like I bought that album from like a used CD shop, and like I had like 4 CDs, and that one just was just on loop. But like that was like the origin to it. When I remember the first 2 like metal albums that I ever bought, I bought Static X Wisconsin Death Trip, and I bought Fear Factory's Obsolete on the same day, and that stuff was on back to back. I'd finish one CD, throw the other one in. Finish that CD, throw the other one in. Like back and back and back and back. And those are like the 2. Oh no, and Cold Chambers self-titled. And those 3 were just like inseparable from me for like months and months and months. It was just an absolute, that was like, those were like a huge thing. What was besides like the POD stuff for you? Like what was something that was like a major transition from band to like metal for you?
So I have a lot of them. A lot of them are Christian, I guess.
The Christian metal, so like our buddy that that came in.
Well,
Shannon, like that kind of metal. What was his band called?
Yes, but more of the hardcore-ish stuff. Okay, let me send you another link. Project 86, huge. Okay. For me, that was like a huge, like POD was.
So what would they sound like? What would they sound like? Project 86. Like who would be a comparison?
Like
in, like
Hatebreed and Tool mixed together, kind of.
Really?
Yep. I just sent you a link.
Prog metal,
so like their old
and
stuff, like aggressive though. Like I just sent you a link. It's now I got to play it for the audience because it's like for me this was again this was that style of transitional music where they were not quite. They're not quite secular, but not quite Christian. They had enough of a thing where we could listen to as kids. Blindside was another album, another band I listened to that was extremely cattle decapitation style mixed with Hatebreed style. So it was like hardcore scream metal.
They're willing to poke Jesus in the eye a little bit, just be like,
No, they weren't. They were praising Jesus.
Okay, so they weren't even like antagonizing, like pushing the boundaries. They were like, "This is so great!" Like, yes, there wasn't any question.
No, and some of them didn't even talk about it. Like this song is called "Pipe Dream." I mean, I don't even think it was really a Christian song. I mean, like they talk about, like the beginning of the song says, "Downhill, downtrodden, left as a slave." New day on the verge to find a grave, floors swing and slopes downhill to bring, middle ground set unwavering. Like none of this is like I love Jesus type stuff.
I guess you could pick up on the biblical references, but you have to like concentrate on it.
I mean, the end of it goes, you wanted to know why I'm different, why I refuse to open my mind because that relative stance is inadequate to fulfill what I need inside. Many souls on the brink of collapse instead of the midst of these so-called nightmares, so willing to embrace those pipe dreams so lost and neglecting their real chance, so willing to hang in the balance. Your state is so desperate, you're blank, so empty, and left with the notion that doesn't hold water or weight. It's dark or it's light, so you decide and you face. And so it's like that's
this, like that's a hardcore way of saying the fool.
Yes,
and his heart.
But but you got to understand, like, okay, the artsy beauty. Okay, and maybe a lot of people are going to say it's not. These are well written things. These are things for people.
No, it is.
This is a very well written poem that doesn't come out and say, "I'm a Jesus lover."
They don't hit you in the face with the Jesus shovel. You know, the ping. You know, they don't. Then so like I can give. That's one of the things with the POD stuff. Like they didn't hit you over the head with it. I'll give them credit on that. Like just the specific lyrics. If you know that this is a Christian band and then you listen to it, you can pick that up because you're expecting that overlayment. But if you just threw that song onto someone, more than likely they probably wouldn't pick that up because that definitely has a dark enough tone to be metal. But
yeah. I mean, and there's a band called Living Sacrifice that was like a Slayer type ripoff. That was aggressively Christian. Like if you actually listen to the lyrics, it was like super. We love Christ, and like there was a
that's a weird
band.
thing to like yell. Like we love Christ. Ah! It's like what? That's really happy.
Was
that
band.
overt?
What's that?
Was it that overt? Like we love Christ.
Oh
like,
yes.
I mean, what's really?
Yes. There was some of this stuff. Hold on, I gotta Google that. But so there. How about this? There was a punk band called Officer Negative that was like this traditional.
I remember you telling me about that.
Traditional like hardcore punk. Like I mean, like really hardcore punk. Like type of punk that you're like, holy crap, this is like punk on the streets type stuff. like. And like their main
so we'd be
song
talking
was,
like Black Flag type
yes.
punk, like
yes,
something. Okay.
And this was called Jesus Christ Hardcore, JCHC. I'm dead serious. That's the name of the song is JCHC, and like you would never you would never know that that's what it means.
What would Jesus do? He would fucking mosh is what he would do.
Okay.
He would slam dance and he would elbow all the grandmas. That's what he would do.
And
like,
but the lyrics
eat the crackers,
of the song,
bitch.
Here's the lyrics of the song. Living for Christ is what we do. That's the definition of our hardcore. We don't need drugs or booze. Christian punks, we won't lose. Jesus Christ, hardcore. Then he goes, kick Satan in the face with our steel-toe boot. We are in the army of God with salvation as our roots. We all stand together, unified by Jesus Christ, defeating Satan, spew with the words of Jesus Christ. Sick and tired of worldly views, sick and tired of Satan's abuse, sick and tired of compromise, sick and tired of all his lies. Dead serious.
So that's the cadence there, so.
Yes, that's the case. Jesus Christ, hardcore.
Now here's a fun thing. If you change like all the Satan to like, I don't know, some overarching like Big Brother, like that whole song completely changes. It's like you can take all the words and lyrics and just make someone else the enemy, and it's a completely valid song. It's like whatever plutocrat or whatever, like mainstream or whatever's like, he's the enemy, he's the killer, whatever. Like I don't know, but like the punk songs, one of the things about those, they're so simple in the specifics, and like so like there's intro, bridge, chorus, verse, intro, or verse, chorus, outro, whatever. So it's so easy to like hit that scenario and slap it in there. So you could probably switch those pieces around to make that punk song. But we're gonna have to include some of this stuff, dude. You know what? Random thought here. Like, I wonder if anybody listens to this random show is if you're interested in any, like, would you be interested in like our thoughts on listening to, like, to do like they are
right now. I'm about to play Officer Negative right now.
Well, no, I know, like a Mystery Science 3000. Chris and Chris sit and listen to punk or Christian metal or something
and rant about it.
Yeah, I mean, just like, what do you think we think of?
How about this?
This is going to be completely and totally new to me. I have never heard any of this crap.
Stuff?
Like, I didn't even listen to any of this when I was younger.
All right, so hold on a second. JCHC, right? Like literally, they have the accent too. This punk accent. La la. It's a whole punk like random singing. La la.
Get the British thing going.
It is. That's what Officer Negative was. They embodied this British accenting and dumped it into this like 90s punk garbage rock, I mean, it's like
just make it as dirty as possible and make it for Jesus.
Yeah, almost. I mean, like, I'm sitting here right now, like, I could just dance to this right now, even though it's awful lyrics. I can completely despise the message.
Well, what you can do is you can just pretend you're me, and you're hearing impaired, and you can't understand any of the words to really any song unless you read it along with it. So it's just, the vocals are just another instrument. It's like listening to Rammstein. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Rammstein. All right.
If you listen to Rammstein and you don't know German, like, the vocals are just an instrument. So imagine monks singing metal. There's no words there. Like, whatever. Like, I don't know what I mean. Like, it just, imagine the vocals as another instrument and just ignore the fact that there's words praising what is it, a totalitarian's dictatorship in the sky.
I mean, the funny thing is, Hanna, you don't even know how many times I've listened to that song, JCHC. Like, that was like an anthem for me. I mean, I would rock in the back of my parents' car as like a middle schooler, like, yeah, and I'm rebelling against my parents because they hated that type of music. It's like, yeah, I'm listening to Christian music, but fuck you, it's a good music. You can't tell me no. Fuck it. It was probably, that's what it was. It was just my rebellious nature saying, go fuck yourself. You don't like this shit, but you can't tell me no because it's Christian. Fuck yourself. Well, that's what
I was going to say. Like, what would be the complaint?
Because of the type of music it is.
So, like, the type of the music. So, like, it's too loud and aggressive.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you think about it, like, if the song is, like, screaming, I love Jesus, how does someone who's an evangelical or a Baptist or somebody who's, like, totally into it, their kid is listening to something that's just screaming as loud as they can that they love their Savior? How do you, like...
They literally didn't know what to do.
The message is on point.
They had no clue.
It's too loud. It's just too loud. I can't. It hurts. It hurts to be around it.
I mean, I can't even tell you what my dad said about rap music. And I had Christian rap metal albums. Like, there's a guy named T-Bone that had a song called Demon Hunter.
Oh, there's a band named Demon Hunter. I remember that was like a Christian metal band or something.
Well, no, this was a rap artist named T-Bone. That's serious. And he had an album, and one of the songs on it was Demon Hunter. I had like Christian rap albums. You know, I did. My dad could not stand rap. My dad just thought rap was like the epitome of Satan more than metal. Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
My dad would literally just say, well, it's just a bunch of people talking. That's not even, it's like uneducated people talking, Chris. I'm like,
that would have been the equivalent of the arguments that they had against rock and roll music. They're like, that's the jungle music. Is that your slang term, hidden whatever, for saying this is the black people music, daddy? Yeah. No, it's, it's like, whatever,
Exactly. Now, all right, now, here you go. So the Living Sacrifice, I looked the lyrics up, all right? From the album,
Living Sacrifice.
This is the Living Sacrifice album. The song is called Truth Solution, right?
That sounds very Third Reich.
Yep.
That sounds very Third Reich.
The name of the album is called Reborn. This is from, I believe, 97. This here, I'm going to read you the lyrics, Hanna. I mean, and now you got to think of, I know you don't have the music in your headphones because you're not over here. Huh?
It's fine. I'll listen to the show afterwards, and then I'll write in the comments or something.
But what you're gonna do is what you're gonna hear in a minute, and what everybody else is gonna hear is it's literally like the original like metal. Like, this is like the Slayer style Christian music that I originally got into before I knew who the hell Slayer was. And I'm gonna read the lyrics along with it. All right, so this song right here, like I just said, is the Truth Solution.
Truth Solution.
Yep,
and
it's
so
very
that's so like the
aggressive.
final solution, man. That freaks me out.
It is. Now wait till you hear the lyrics, though, Hanna. All right, I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Did I send you the link?
I'm just looking it up online.
And I'll be honest, just listening to this riff right here at the beginning of it, I literally, I'm falling in love with a band I cannot like anymore.
That's
like, the amazing
Lamb of God. Lamb of God!
This is better than Lamb of God. I'm dead serious.
No, but they say it in Lamb of God, sacrifice.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my child, like my teeny years before I became secular. So here you can't really hear what he's saying, and that's why my parents hated it. But here's the lyrics for everybody here: breath of God, released faith, creates all life, perfect plan. Sin invades, separates man from God. The fallen state, Lamb of God, sacrifice fulfills all law with sinless life. And then he starts screaming, Jesus, the true solution! And you're just sitting here like, as a kid, it was just amazing for me to go through this and be like, holy crap, you know. And my parents just could not understand why I liked this stuff. They couldn't understand why they wanted somebody to yell at me to tell me how much I love Jesus. He just like, it was like, you're just like, why would you want this? I mean, the whole song, Hannah, that's just the beginning of it. The whole song is about God, Jesus coming to give free will, yet show the way, to give his son in our place, to die, to rise, forever reign, beware deception, all highs fade except for God. Like, they go from God is your best to don't get high because you can only get high off Jesus. He's the true solution.
I'm listening to True Solution right now, and gotta give you, like, it brings to mind like what Fear Factory did with Concrete in its original iterations, minus the
different vocals though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then like putting the music together, like you're getting a lot of, I would say like influences from a lot of other stuff in that general genre, or that you know, that late '80s, early '90s metal, where you hit a lot of where Pantera just couldn't keep going. And metal, black metal, and heavy metal like kind of took over, but like that, it brings to mind. There's a lot of things where like your different messages, your different ideas, your different thoughts, your whatever. But like your music can be the same kind of thing, man. Like it can be good stuff. It's like back to the weird POD '90s mainstream metal thing. Like it can be a good song. The message can be a little bit off for some people who aren't really cool with it, but like. I love a whole bunch of really cool songs that are like the band Kansas, you know, Dust in the Wind and stuff like that. Like those are good songs, but like, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the real heavy, holy message. But like this stuff here, heavy, hard, you know, these guys know the music. Just that their message was a little bit sappy for me, but overall, like, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you could easily listen to that and just rock out in your car like while you're driving to work like a freaking weirdo.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because earlier, and this harkens back to, you know, when you said, well, what's the transitional band? What was your thing? This is just so you understand. This was me. When these were released, I bought this album as it was released.
So why did you buy it? Like you went from POD to Living Sacrifice? Like you went from...
I like the whole spectrum, the metal spectrum. Like POD held a different fascination than Living Sacrifice. Living Sacrifice was that extreme side of music. Yes. And POD... So how did someone get you to buy Living Sacrifice? Like that isn't just something you go into a store and you're like, total metal Christian band, I want that. Like who was like, this is awesome, you should check this out? Like who was the person that said that? Or did you read it or hear it or listen to it somewhere? So there's a combination of a lot of different things. I started when I moved up to Michigan, I didn't have any friends because I was new here. I never lived in Michigan. All I had was relatives. I started working at a farmer's market with my cousin. And my
Is that why you told me that you could pick the best watermelon in town, no questions asked?
Yeah, I still can. But only at a farmer's market. But actually, I could do it at Myers pretty well, too, still. But anyway, you're diverting this shit. So
of course
stop moving the goalpost.
I can't move the goalpost because this is an alien concept to me.
So anyway, so
you're sticking your thumbs in cantaloupes. Continue.
So afterwards, my cousin would take me to the Christian bookstore and to the music stores, and he would be like, "All right, let's go get new music." And my cousin was not into as heavy stuff as I was, and I should ask him about that. I should actually see if he wants to go to coffee with me, so I could kind of discover if he was the one that originally got me into the heavy stuff. But what happened is you would go and you would listen to different albums, and it was such an extreme from what I had growing up, like as a kid. Like this music was just nothing. All this was revolutionary to me.
So it's like album, like even like a light rock album would be like, holy crap.
No. That we had those at church. Light rock.
Okay.
Like when I was in 6th grade,
I got my first stereo. I had like Rebecca St. James, I got allowed to listen to DC Talk. I was into the poppy Christian, Michael W. Smith type thing. My parents didn't like anything heavier than that. And so some of it was a defiance of, hey, we don't like this. Therefore,
Mom and Dad said I couldn't.
I had to get it. But the longer I would go to these stores and I would listen to this stuff, like the more extreme that it was, it was my anger, I think. I think it was like, hold on. For me, what metal does is when I listen to it, I get amped up, but I release energy. It's a release of energy. Even if I don't hit somebody, or if I don't dance really hard, or if I don't run in a circle, it's a release of energy mentally for me. It's allowing me to take pent up aggression, which I had a lot of that as a teen, and anger and rage, and just emit it into the atmosphere and say, get the fuck away from me. Bye-bye. And it was a way for me to release that. I don't know why.
But like in a Christian family bookstore, they had like a metal Jesus section?
Yes.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. This stuff was becoming popular.
I just imagine they were like, okay, Black Sabbath made a Christian album. Still not going to hold that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter.
You're right. The Black Sabbath did, but because it was the mainstream. It goes back to that Christian music thing that, Seth Andrews had a whole show about this. It was a profitable genre type thingy for Christians. It was a new awakening.
They were copying whatever was popular in like pop mainstream so that they can make money on that. But like, there's no money to be made in like living sacrifice metal. Like, there's no money there.
There was and there wasn't. Okay, so there wasn't like, they're not going to be the Slayer where they get to, you're right. But
they still made some money on it.
Yes, enough. And you got to think, it was a passion of, how do I reach kids that are leaving Christianity or never heard Christianity by introducing us to that content, which was the whole concept of how do we leave a Christian label and go to a secular label and still be able to maintain our life while being Christians. A good example of a today band that nobody's ever heard of but me and a couple of my friends is called The Chariot. They're Christian. They're not overtly Christian, but they've never been on a Christian label. They have always been on a secular label. They've never played a Christian venue. It's always been secular type venues. They've never been courted ever, but they're a Christian band. That's what they are. And you can listen to the lyrics and they don't really talk. They're not like the what we just listened to with Living Sacrifice, where everything's like uber God. Their lyrics aren't like that. They're more mundane. They're closer to like that Project 86 band I was telling you about. But it was the allure that I can live in society and give you the Christian message as
a metal band.
And how do I draw in the other kids? I just happen to be a Christian kid who had zero desire to leave the faith at that time. And it was oh my God, I can get the stuff on the outside, on the inside. And even though, like there was some of me that said, well, these aren't like, my friend was like, yeah, I love Slipknot. And I'm like, yeah, well, Slipknot sucks. And they're like, why does Slipknot suck? Well, I don't know. I like Limp Bizkit. And they're like, oh, you're a piece of shit because you like Limp Bizkit, not that. But I like Limp Bizkit because it fit into a lot of the Christian bands I listened to. And, Slipknot was just that far out extreme. But I was listening to Slipknot style music just on the Christian realm.
So like a new metal Christian band. That's weird.
Yes.
Wow. Well, like that was one of the things. Like I always imagined like there was like some form of knockoff or whatever. But like that was what I was saying. It's like so like you basically came up to Michigan and like you had been listening to whatever or whatever. You were kind of cranky. You were kind of like feeling your teen angstiness. And so like your cousin took you to the bookstores. And so like you listened to the metal or the music that was kind of like speaking to you. And they had the like Christian version of the hard rock, the Christian version of the heavy metal, because they knew that, okay, listen, we have to progress. We have to push out a little bit and like kind of catch those ones that are on the fringe that are still listening to metal or whatever, or they want to listen to that really hard stuff, but we'll at least give them, a Jesus pill in metal form. And so that was just there. And so like you found it, or did someone like hand you like,
well, a lot of it was, some of it was found. Some of it was found. Some of it was through research. I mean, you got to remember, I was a kid that had the internet since I was like 8 years old. So like,
but you had the 80s, or you had the T1 line, which
I knew how to research things. So I started getting involved in the research, but
in fairness, when I joined the church, that Matt Chapman kid that we had on the show that I used to play in a band with, our bassist.
He's awesome online, by the way. Everybody should get on his Facebook because he's so much fun to talk with on there. Anyways, continue.
Our bassist was named Josh, and Josh and Matt worked together at a local restaurant called Noel, ironically enough. And Josh was the one that actually got me into a lot of these different punk bands and different extremes. He was the one that helped. He brought me the weird, extravagant. He brought me like Blindside. There's another band, I can't remember the name of it, but there's some weird off-put band, like this weird starship type band, and I don't remember what it is. But it's this weird hardcore mixed with like grindcore. It's like a mix of the two. It's a weird mix. I still have the album. I actually still own this album to this day. It's probably some rare piece of shit Christian band nobody's ever heard of.
Like Thursday for Christ.
I don't know who that is, so...
Screamo band. Anyways, I'm just but
yes,
some of those, yeah. So like you basically like
so Josh was my outlet. Josh was my Matt and Josh and Corey. These were all my outlets in terms of here's Christian music that you will like. I know you like secular music, Chris, but here's this other stuff. And then when you Google them, it wasn't Google back then, but when you, I don't know what the hell it was, Net something or
Yahoo.
other. Yeah, it wasn't Yahoo. It was before Yahoo.
Yahoo, Netscape.
There you go, Netscape. When you would Netscape something, because we could call it like we used to be like pretend it's like Google because it was back then. But when
there
you
was
Netscape
Ask Jeeves and Yahoo, there's all kinds of certain
and I
like
hated
search
Ask
engines.
Jeeves. Hated Ask Jeeves, but I always had the net. Fuck that.
We should do an episode about Jeeves in the future. The literary Jeeves, really cool backstory.
We could do that one, but not about the website.
You asked Netscape, and Netscape said,
like,
you want Jesus in metal form?
Yeah, they would. You don't say that, but you would type in you would start researching a band, and you would lead to other bands, and it just kind of and I would write them down, and I would Google them, and just before you could download this stuff, I could download secular music, but I couldn't get Christian music. Like I couldn't torrent Christian music as a kid at all because it didn't exist.
Oh, it wasn't torrenting. It was
whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
What was
Napster.
Napster, yeah, you were a Napster kid.
Oh yeah, day one. Like my cousin and I actually were worried we were going to get we were going to get sued by fucking Metallica. We're like, oh my god,
the NSA was coming for you.
Yeah, my cousin got all. I shouldn't say this in case I doubt he'll ever listen to this episode, but my cousin got like super worried. I mean, like dead serious, like end of the world worried, and like we had to wipe his computer. And he had a computer in his room, and he never looked at porn, ironically enough, in his room. I used to use his computer to look at porn every once in a while when he wasn't around. But, he never used it.
Hey, what's up? I'm Steve Hayes.
And I'm Dave Curry.
And we're from ProfitCast.
And you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics.
On the Fox News Network.
They're not affiliated with Fox.
Everyone's a Fox affiliate.
Looking for something new and exciting, or maybe just a change from the old Atheist Show format? Cellar Door Skeptics Podcast provides listeners with hours of enjoyment each week on Spreaker and iTunes. Check us out as we talk politics, religion, science, reviews of books and music, along with the occasional interview just for a twist. Join Christopher Tanner and Chris Hanna every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as they bring fresh content to you. Walk with us through the cellar door as we help you prepare for the revolution. You can find us on Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, and even on Facebook.
This is Trav Ramon, host of the By Any Means podcast, and you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics. Prepare for the revolution. We have cookies.
Now, back to the show.
The Napster thing, it was only bad if you were using your computer as a hub to share tons of people. But you could just say, I don't want to share these things, and then you wouldn't be a hub that was sharing everything. But you could download from everyone else. I don't know. It's one of the things you always hear about, like if you're a torrenter, if you're something like that, like seeding. It's like you put your copy out there so people could have a copy of it or something like that. But Napster and all that kind of stuff was basically the same way. I don't know. I would think that he would know, maybe Sort of. He
No, we
wasn't.
were
He
young,
wasn't.
dude. We were young as fuck back then.
Well, like even back in the day, like that when torrenting first started, like I used to use. It wasn't Napster that we had for a lot of stuff, but there were a couple other different P2P sharing services that you could use, and like everybody was sending stuff back and forth. I don't know. Either way, like everybody kind of knew that it was like, okay, if you don't have like 1,000 or 10,000 songs that you're sharing from your hub, because that's the only way the feds could find you. If they like tons of computers were connecting to your computer. Other than that, you will probably okay. So like, I never worried because I'm not like 30 songs.
So we did. My cousin and I. That was just the thing. We worried about some of that stuff.
It's back in the day when people used to get those black boxes for cable. They used to like get a box that you could get all the HBO channels and everything, like HBO and Showtime and stuff. The cable company would just at like 2 a.m. would send out a random things like, "We know who you are. We're watching you," and like like they would just put out this commercial that said that, but it wasn't like a commercial or whatever. It was just like this random thing. It would just ping, and it would say that. And it was random, so it wasn't like every night at the same time they would see that. And my dad had like a cheap shit box that somebody had modified for him. He was like, "Oh god!" He took it and he threw it in the freaking trash. Like he never used it again after that. And I was like, the cable company got you there, man. I was like, there's no way they could tell that back in like 1979. Like they didn't know. God, they could barely think about how rudimentary any kind of telemetry they had back then was. Like, there's no way they could tell who was stealing what. But like, they just sent out that fear programming, and they got him right out of the gate. And he was just like, "Oh, you never touched it." that black box stuff. I don't know. I would think like the Napster stuff, you don't have to worry too much about that. Especially like, okay, here's the thing: the Fed comes and busts you, and you are like the guy spreading nothing but like Jesus rock.
Jesus songs.
How does what happens when that goes to the Supreme Court? All the conservatives are like, "This kid was just spreading the word of the Lord." Like, but all the RIAA people would be like, "Well, he was stealing good music from people who wanted to make money." Like, do you think the evangelicals would have came out and supported you guys if you got busted selling?
Oh no, because it was stealing. 100% was stealing. You were stealing. You can't do that.
Even if you were spreading the word of the Lord, you're still stealing.
Yeah.
That seems kind of cold. Like Pat Robertson got like an airplane or something. I don't know. it just seems like a couple of punk songs for a couple of kids in Midwestern Michigan wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
No, you would think it would be, but I don't know. I don't know. And it's kind of it's weird listening to some of this stuff again. Like I haven't brought any of this stuff out.
For the first time listening to this stuff, man. Like, I remember the first couple times you and I were doing recordings at your old house, and like you and your wife were like, "You haven't heard of this band?" No, I haven't. And you would play it, and it's like, "Oh my god!" Like some of the songs that like. I don't know. It's just like some of the music and stuff, like the religious music, whatever. I never got even remotely exposed to, so it's like a complete surprise. Some of the like really weird stuff, like you were playing. It's like how music for like Christian like TV stuff, like these like Christian music songs. So like way weirder than like the Veggie Tales music and stuff like that. Like just like really, really, I guess devout like. Children's programming, like you know the songs by heart, like these weird cartoon songs, something like that, and it mixed in with the metal thing and like all of the different messages and stuff like that. Like, everything, all of that stuff is still completely randomly new to me. So like whenever I hear it, it's still a huge surprise. Like all of the metal music, like I said earlier, like some of that stuff, I would listen to that because I can't understand what they're saying unless I'm reading along with it. Like I just can't hear it. I don't know if it's my hearing aids or just, that's what everybody feels unless they can read that music while they're listening to it. But like in most cases, it's just like, this is a good metal song. I don't know what he's saying. It could be give the devil a blowjob or hold hands with Jesus. I can't hear it, but maybe it's a good song. So like a lot of times like that, like I would, if you hadn't told me that what was the really heavy band? Something, a sacrifice, living sacrifice, the living sacrifice band. like if I didn't know who that was and you just sent me the song with no lyrics and I didn't have like the YouTube lyric video, I would be like, no, this is pretty cool, like 90s metal. That's nothing special.
Yeah.
But like I would have no clue that was like.
I would disagree with you. That's nothing special, but.
Well, like just like okay, it would be something that was like overtly religious, like especially whatever. I wouldn't have been able to hear that right out of the gate. It would have fit right on in, which is surprising because I wouldn't expect Christian metal to be that camouflaged.
Yeah, and back in the day it was. Now it's not as much. I don't think. I mean, I'm sure it is. I'm sure that whole thing is a prominent circle that I'm just not in.
Your ears may be more fine tuned, like the Shannon Lowe, and his band. Like we actually liked a lot of their music, even some of the stuff that was kind of religious. Like some of that music it was just good music. I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that dude's working on a degree now. Like I haven't heard him making any music in a long time.
Who?
Shannon Lowe.
Oh, they still doing tours? I don't know. They were.
Were they? Because like I just see him posting and doing stuff online. He's like just being a single dad and going to college. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I loved their last album that they had, but I don't know. I don't know, Hannah. It's an upbringing that not a lot of people are privy to. Mine was a little different because I was the button pusher. I was the how do I make this difference? How do I enjoy my life as best I can in my confines and my chains? And maybe that's the title to this, right? Chris makes the best of his confines and chains, or Chris makes the best of his, confinement. And
Chris asked his parents which version of screaming at Jesus that they're okay with.
And it was a trial, and it's kind of funny now. My mom will probably deny half of that, but. Growing up, I mean, I think I've told this story before, and I'm sure this is a repeat. I mean, we're on over 100 episodes now, but I remember my mom hated POD because they had long hair and dreadlocks, and they sang aggressive music. And I said, Mom, they're singing about how much they love Jesus and how they want to stop gangs and drugs. You're watching a show that talks about adultery and swears, and they're doing drugs in the background.
What show?
General Hospital. My mom was a junkie for that stuff, man. She loved that shit. We came home, it was quiet time, man. She would rock the baby, or she would fold laundry, and it was you get the fuck out of the room when General Hospital's on. It isn't a quiet, and this is before DVRs. You got to think, this was you watched it. My mom was obsessed with that.
I really did not expect to laugh as hard as I just did.
See alcohol.
They're doing drugs and having sex and being bad people and.
Well, that's what I told her. I don't know if they really were. I know they were adulteries. I don't know if they did drugs though. I know they drank.
Yeah, and they had like the first people that had HIV on that. So like, what the thing is with the General Hospital thing, I used to, if I was sick or whatever, like I would stay at home and I would be given the TV. I could play video games, do whatever. But 2:00, my mom would watch One Life to Live. And then after that was General Hospital. And I had no choice. She's like, we're watching these two. These are my soaps. You shut the hell up. You're my kid. So like I'd be like on the couch, and I'd be playing video games. I'd tap into the TV, and I would play like Sega Genesis, or I would play PlayStation. And then I would have to disconnect, and my mom would turn on her soaps, and she would get to watch One Life to Live and General Hospital. And One Life to Live was absurdly terrible. It was so bad I don't even remember any of it. But General Hospital did have some decent plot points, and I remember I'm like 14 or whatever. So like the one chick, Brenda, who was Vanessa something. She was on the show. It wasn't Casino, but it was something along those lines. It was like, Vegas. There was a show on like nightly. I want to say like Fox. It was like a competitor for like TGI Friday or something. It was called Vegas, and it had a couple of different people, and they would own like a casino or something. And Vanessa was one of the chicks. Her name was Brenda on General Hospital. And so like that show itself was just like this cheesy, like they weren't doing drugs, they weren't like they were like the evil twin would show up and he had a mustache or something. Like that was like the extent of the evil that showed up on that show. Or maybe they would ride a motorcycle and people would be like, "Oh man, he's carrying a helmet. He's a bad guy." That was how bad it got. You know, I remember that because my mom used to watch. She used to read that little soap magazine from the aisle of the grocery store. She loved it.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so we didn't have that, but there was another band. I sent you a link called Zayo. That
sounds
was
familiar, actually.
Super uber Christian, but they were like the closest thing between a black metalish grindcore death metal band of the 90s. Amazing albums. Like, I mean, we're talking off the charts, fantastic. If we had to give this a album review, it would be a 10.20 star review of that. And they had their biggest album that I was obsessed with. Like, they had an album called When Blood and Fire Rest. Great album. But their biggest album for me was Liberate Axon Furious, or however the hell you say that, which is essentially Dante's Inferno. They did the 9 Circles of Hell. They had an album that did the 9 Circles of Hell, my friend. I'm dead serious. Like, it was like the
so
most
amazing
thing. Oh my god, dude! Like, and for me, that was like the level of Christian versus not Christian versus, where are you going to step type thing. And that I will listen to that album to this day. That specific album. The rest of the stuff I have a hard time with. That one I don't. I'll listen to that whole album.
Well, Dante was like loved and hated by different factions of Christian religion. Like, I mean, his 9 levels of hell were very specific, and then like broke off and kind of caught up with, and so like there were like battles that happened with his specific thoughts or whatever. But gotta give you something here. I just looked up Zayo metal, and I found the Power Rangers Zayo metal cover. I don't know.
Send it to me.
I just did. It's in our chat. Seriously, if this is the same thing, but either way, like some people
not.
did. Okay,
nowhere near it.
Okay, because like, well, I see the spelling was pretty close, but either way, like the
I don't even know. I don't even know what this is.
It's just like black. Just click into the middle of the video, and it's not the
Zayo I know.
Okay, that's good. I was gonna say, because like, is this what you're? It's like
no,
a metal cover for Power Rangers. Not so much. I mean, Rita, she did throw a big stick, and she made her monsters really tall. But did you watch the Power Rangers? Were your parents?
No, I could have. I hated them though.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, but your parents weren't like, no Power Rangers.
I could
no
watch
Power Rangers. That wasn't too weird. It's like I always imagine like other people were just like, no Power Rangers forever.
No, and my parents never had a problem with it. Weirdly enough.
Well, because earlier, actually, random thing. Earlier, you were saying like I couldn't get in touch with, like they were trying to. The heavy metal bands are trying to get in touch with the kids, and the Christian bookstores are trying to get in touch with the kids. So I all I could think of was the South Park episode where Cartman was pretending to be like the Michelle Pfeiffer character in Dangerous Minds. She's like, how do I get in touch with these kids? And it's like this horrible like Latin American accent, something like this weird blend between the movie 187 and Dangerous Minds or whatever. But like, I always just imagine like how do I get in touch with these kids? So, like, you're basically explaining them trying to like, okay, we've got black metal kids who are just totally into this, but let's just put a little Jesus flavor into it and toss it in there. Like, it totally surprised me that like these bands, because like I would think that a band that's interested in this kind of hardcore heavy music, like I don't know, they would gravitate towards like, okay, listen, you guys are interested in putting us out just because we're like a counterweight to like the other black metal, that they would be interested in that or not. Like, I don't know. It just seems like they would be like, we want to be legit. It was. So they were like, okay, we can own this niche.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's not how they perceive it, but think about it this way: like, okay, this Zao album, right? You know, this guy's screaming, "My heart broke," right? That's how he's screaming it, like that screechy about his heart breaking for Jesus, and he's like, the pain has gone away. I place my hope in no other. My heart it cries, it tolls inside me, and he's like, closing my eyes, running the other way. I've decided I'm going to open my eyes to find more than what I was looking for. My mind, it screams, knowing this is for all. Now I've found this rock, this stable place I can be. The pain has gone away. I place my hope in no other. I know. And like the next song is, I will lift you up. Literally, this is a praise song. I'm going to lift you up. I will praise your awesome name. Praise your name for what it's worth and nothing less. Perfect in all these things, Most High God. Condemn, to praise, to adore, to glorify, and something so still. Like, I mean, like, you just sit there and you go, like, when you show my parents those lyrics, they didn't know what to do, because it's like, well, no, I mean, that's kind of like a hymn right there. But the guy's yelling at me, Chris. Why is he yelling at me? Why is he yelling at me to praise God?
That's the thing. Like, when you sing it, when you say it there, dude, like, that makes my neck twitch. Like, yeah, like, it's so positively, like, totally Christian. And it's just like, oh man. But like, when you hide it behind a bunch of camouflage and metal, like, that isn't absolutely horrifyingly bad, but still, like, the lyrics themselves, there's no question. So I don't know. So basically, you found your way through a couple of random, connections or whatever. And you found the bands that were good, and then you found your way out of that or whatever. So, like,
well, I actually had a hard time giving up my Christian metal albums.
Oh, they're not that bad. Up. That's the thing. Like, I didn't think they would be like, oh wow, that's not terrible. I expected it to be like kids playing metal on Tonka music.
Oh no,
like
that's what I'm saying. Like, this is amazing.
That's what it is, and like, so like the musicianship and everything about the metal itself is good. It's the message that just like, so like, when you read like a philosopher's book and you're like, I really like the way this guy talks, and then his final conclusion, you're like, oh God, why? How did reading a C.S. Lewis book when you're like, wow, this guy's really got some
good comparison.
This guy's got some great lyric, his lyricism, the way he puts his words down, awesome. And then you're like, you hear his conclusion, you're like, dude, you just got the total dog. Like, it's just, so like, I would put the same kind of thing into like a lot of this music. Like, the music itself, the musicianship and what they've got going on, it's awesome. But the message in its end is something you were just like, no.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
They even had a
that's
song
kind of where it feels.
called like Repressed, right? On the same album, and they talk about the corporate machine of America, in God we trust, just statement of political banter, plastic words for a plastic nation. They were like speaking about revelation, right? They were speaking about how do we revolutionize the youth. That was part of this Christian music culture, is how do I revolutionize the youth? How do I revolutionize the youth? How do I take the metal, the anger, the angst, and funnel it into making America better? Because they knew eventually kids are going to sell out. Eventually people are going to become part of the machine. Eventually people are going to become part of society. And how do I brainwash them now so that they take this into society and they give us a Christian topocracy, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm too drunk to care what the hell they call it now.
Theocracy. And plant the seed. Plant the seeds, and reap what you sow much later on. I don't know. It doesn't sound that weird. It doesn't sound that surprising. It just surprises me significantly that it shows up in the middle of like metal. Like, I always the medium always surprises me. That metal sort of, like I said earlier, it's like Black Sabbath made a Christmas album or whatever. You'd be like, what the? Okay, I'll listen to it. but I'm not gonna. I refuse to listen to it on December 25th, and I you know what I mean? Like it's just like one of those things. Like if Ozzy Osbourne was singing "Oh Silent Night," I would listen to it, and I would probably enjoy it. But I'm not going to agree with the whole message of what they were trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
Holy shit! Random thing. A friend of mine just sent me a message that by liking and clicking on some of my things on Facebook, they got like a 2,000 word post about why Jesus is great, and they were like, "What the hell?" And they just sent it to me on my Facebook so I can read through this crazy person's post. But yeah, so apparently the message is strong enough to work its way into my my social media.
It's kind of like, my son came to me the other day and he was like, Dad, I read this article today about about how on Facebook, when you like talk to your phone, Facebook recognizes and gives you ads based on what it can hear. I'm like, it's not Facebook. I was like, this is not true. It's been proven. I guarantee it. All right, where's your articles? Well, you just need to trust me. No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Somebody has been listening or reading
Alex Jones.
Yeah. They got all your apps are listening to you and selling your information on the Facebook. Every time you say the word phallus, 35,000 websites know that you are part of their market. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me.
It should, because that's a complete invasion of privacy.
No. Well, I know that, but it wouldn't surprise me because if you look at the things that have been happening of recent, so like look at the things about net neutrality and look about all that kind of stuff. Like anytime a challenge like that comes up where the individual is challenging the overarching corporation, the overarching powers that be for their individual freedoms, it's either ignored or powers are expanded for the corporations. So it doesn't surprise me every time that some of this information comes out. It's the conspiracy theories that they were like everything's been listened to and you are in a database and they're selling everything that you have and yours, whatever. Like the total control of everything is, I don't believe is quite as uniform and as conspiratorial as everything is, but it wouldn't surprise me that if they have the ability and you just be like, yeah, whatever, click yes on that, that app download, that until there's some kind of overarching regulation that says, listen, you guys can't just turn that microphone on whenever you want and drain people's batteries, because I don't know if you've noticed it, like sometimes when you download something, like it just sucks all the battery bandwidth down like crazy. It's like, so, well, what is this app doing when I'm not using it? Those kinds of things like that. That's the kind of regulatory thing that I am completely and totally on board for. But the independent libertarian capitalistic market is not going to be supporting. So we'll see as far as if anybody is overreaching and stealing from us or not. But in most cases, I don't think it's as crazy as a lot of people think. But as my pet troll says that Facebook is listening to you and all the liberals are pedophiles. That's pretty much what I hear every time I post any kind of thing. Like I posted earlier about Trump's tariffs. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just like, nope, that's the pedophiles in Guantanamo. It's like, dude. Earlier this week, I told him, I said, before you tell me all the problems with my reasoning and logic, I do sincerely suggest that you try to figure out the curiosities of American grammar and spelling, because like it's hard to take him seriously when every third word is spelled incorrectly. Like, and he's got a picture of, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a famous black African American. There's a black actor who is I don't know what his name is, but that is his profile photo, and his screen name is Mundingo, which is incredibly racist. And that was the name that they used to use for for African Americans who wanted to sleep with white women. As far as I had done in my research, and like seeing what they've done, it's terrible. Like the whole every bit about this guy's existence on the internet is offensive, and then all he does is post on my pages about all of this stuff about conspiracy theory stuff, or just he's a Trump supporter light. So he's saying like, oh, all the liberals are trying to do this and this and this, but at least Trump is keeping all the pedophiles in Guantanamo or whatever. It's like, dude, your messages and your arguments are basically fallacious right out of the gate. It's absurd. But like, I keep him around because like that is an example of a visible example of how, I guess, confused a lot of people are that are out there. Like, and this guy he's a person that's posting something. If he's completely and totally trolling me, cool, whatever. I'll disagree with him from here and there. But like, if he's a real person who really believes what he's posting, like, it's unfortunate and it's kind of scary that is like the real thought out there. So like, I keep him around just so that I can like fight against it a little bit and just kind of get and see what they're posting.
Yeah,
because you don't get too far away. It's like if you got kids, you don't want to get too far away from the tech, right? So like, they can sneak around you.
Oh no, you have to be super on top of that.
Oh yeah.
Skin like winter. Good old Zale. I mean, like, I don't know what to say. I think we've exhausted that topic more than we can imagine. Like, we've talked about it, I bet, for like an hour now. Like, your fascination with it. Like, I mean, like, just the music style of this is like so aggressive. Like, maybe just befuddles the average person who doesn't listen to that type of aggressive music. I don't know.
It's pretty cool. I would say that it's an interesting tangent the show took on, getting into the music and stuff. So it's something that we've hit a couple times here and there. We did some music reviews when the show first started off, and I would love to hear if anybody's more interested in hearing more metal reviews and things that we had done in the past. But when it comes to the Christian stuff, like, obviously Christian metal reviews, that's going to Chris. That's going to Tanner. So like, if anybody's got like, okay, listen, this is the band that I listened to when I was coming up, and let's say Chris doesn't know who the heck they are, that would be awesome. Do a little review. Let's listen to some of their stuff. So I'm thinking, if anybody's got any like wild random, so like Chris said he liked a lot of the stuff that was kind of out there, a little bit outside the norm. If you've got something weirder or more outside the norm than Living Sacrifice and Project 86, or what's it, Project 86? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Project 86, Zayo,
Yeah.
Living Sacrifice, Tourniquet, Circle of Dust, Extol.
If you got some stuff that's outside that norm, send it to us. Send us a link. Send us on. Maybe we'll ask you a couple questions on what it was like when you were dealing with that, and like what you were listening to, and if you thought it was awesome, if you still think it's awesome, or if you kind of moved on from that or whatever. It'd be awesome to hear. But like, for me, like, I don't have any kind of like base ground for this, so like, this is all so new that if anybody can just show up and school me on some of the cool stuff that you listened to when you were younger. And that way I only have one reference point besides Chris's reference point here. But other than that, man, I mean, we've been fucking... You started the show random. We had a bunch of... I guess we had a couple of things we were going to cover. But it's just a conversation episode. Maybe we should just call it that.
A conversation about a conversation.
Dude, don't be getting all Lawrence Krauss on me and getting into the dark matter and dark energy.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, Hanna, actually, for hanging out with me tonight. That was fun. We haven't done a tangent episode in a while. It was definitely a good 2 hours worth of conversation, camaraderie, and fun. And so
it wasn't quite as sneaky. It wasn't as sneaky as you thought it was.
It wasn't, and everybody will get to you all get to hear me be very surprised by that. But it was a fun episode. We don't do these very, very often. We scrapped every topic. It just went we talked about whatever talked about, and whatever happened. And so I leave you with this Fall of Farewell by Zayo. Thank you all, and have a great night.
Woo.
Yeah.